Yeah, I think the first recorded billionaire, that's John D. Rockefeller, will be an interesting figure to also sit and talk with.
All
I
right.
think he was recorded to be the first record millionaire, something like that.
What would you
And
ask
first
him?
discover oil,
What
like
would you
that.
ask him? What would you
Uh,
ask? Yes.
uh, uh, what will I ask him? I can't really see now, but will I say how to become what he has? How to? I don't know how to put the question now. What is like what led to his discovery? Because as I said, he said he was the first to discover oil. What was the habit like? What was like his daily routine like and stuff like that? I
Okay.
think that would be my question for him.
Very good. What was his routine, daily routine like? And then how did he come about that discovery? Fantastic question. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Uchenna, you're next.
Okay, I think I'll go with Lee Kuan Yew of Singapore.
Wow, amazing guy. Yes.
Hmm. My question will be because Singapore really had there were a state in with Malaysia. Malaysia expelled them.
Mm.
So and he was able to build that country back. My question will be the mindset.
Mm.
Because I know that when he was giving his speech, he was actually crying. He didn't know the fate of Singapore. But the mindset he was able to have to rebuild that country to be a first world country now.
Mm.
I would like to have dinner with him and to see how he became who he was, what kind of parents he had that brought him to that kind of, made him to be that kind of leader that
Mm.
would turn a bad situation around.
Amazing. Excellent question. All right, Patricia, you're next.
Okay, good evening, everyone. I just thought about past leader gone, Nelson Mandela. Thinking about his time in prison for 27 years, right? Something like that.
Mhm.
I would ask him what gave him the resilience, or what exactly made him stay put on what he wanted to do. He was so resolute that he was in prison for 27 years. And then, I would like to ask him and know that. Thank you.
Amazing. Okay, thank you. Onyedikachu, you next.
Good evening, everyone. I think my own is Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu.
Okay. Mhm.
I have a lot of reasons why. Firstly, if you were very active during this last election, you will see that this man is a master of mind control. One, like how did he like keep that mentality going? Not
Mhm.
minding the backlash, not minding the rumors, not minding the conspiracies, and he was still going strong.
Mm.
At first, they showed his health.
Mm.
Secondly, they called him a drug dealer. Thirdly, like I don't even know how Nigerians think. They were like he did not go to school, but this man worked with top corporations out there, and we are saying he did not go to school. So how is it even possible? Yet this man kept going. So like for me, it's like wow, wow. And Peter Obi, I think Peter Obi was very competent, and everyone was like Peter Obi will win. Peter Obi will win. He's the man for the job. But yes, I don't know the right word to it, but maybe I'll call it cornerstone, or the rejected stone actually became the cornerstone,
Mhm.
something like that. So I think everyone should just look at this man, like leave the sentiments aside, leave the emotions aside, and learn from this master of mind control that's actually leading our country.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Onyedikachu. Okay. Caroline, you are next.
I would like to dine with Warren Buffett. And the question I would ask him is how he was able to cultivate his investment prowess and how he has sustained it over time.
Mm.
What are the things he does and how he's able to maintain focus? That would be it for me.
Powerful question. Powerful question. Thank you very much. Coach Cyprian,
Good evening, everyone.
good evening.
My historical figure, I don't know, I would like to go to the Bible. So the person I would love to ask the question is King Solomon.
Mm.
There was a passage where the Queen of Sheba came to meet him,
Mm.
and there she said she saw how his servants were, how they dined, what they wear, how the coordination in his house, and how we entered the temple. And she said something that even what she heard before is not half of what she seen. Like, he over impressed her with, his operations, his presence, everything. So that thing that he did, whereby people hear something about you, and when they encounter you, they see, like, they are more impressed than what they heard, is what I would love to, learn and apply, and how to manage and basically, coordinate your life the best way possible. That's wisdom, that insight. That's something I would love to.
Wow, amazing. Thank you very much. Thank you, Coach Cyprian. Who is next? Ogochukwu, have you gone? I think you just joined us. So we have Ogochukwu, then we have Abiola, and then we have Simon. Ogochukwu, you're muted if you're speaking. We can't hear you.
I would like to dine with Donald Trump. I like his energy. I like the fact that he doesn't really care about the pressure. He's focused, and with all the things happening in America, he can still hold the country the way it's supposed to be. That's it.
Wow, amazing, amazing. Thank you. Abiola.
Yeah, good evening, guys. I think the person I would like to dine with is Thomas Edison. I think I want to ask him just one question. Like, how was he able to fail 1,000 times? Like, from 1 to 1,000 to create something, like just a thing. He did it 1,000 times. Like, it's just so fascinating. It's so like inspiring. Like, because sometimes I just talk to myself that I've not done anything. I've not even done 1 time. I've not done 2 times. I'll be tired. So I was able to do 1,000 and get the result I want. So I think that's the person I love to dine with.
Interesting. Fantastic. Okay. Thank you very much. Simon?
All right. Good evening. Good evening, everyone. So, for me, I would love to dine with Dangote to be able to. Why I would love to dine with him is to be able to know how he was able to start up from humble beginning, from where he had to get loan and start off in a very little way, that where he had to be selling just the normal staple kind of products that we have in the market, and until he grew to became an importer of those products, and until the time he became a manufacturer of those products. So I just wanted to know the steps and how he was able to go through the process to get what he wanted.
Amazing. Amazing. Thank you very much, Simon. Do we have anyone else who hasn't gone? All right, so that would be me. All right, so this might be a bit surprising, but that's the kind of person I am. I would like to dine with the person that nobody wants to dine with, and that is Adolf Hitler. Drum roll. This guy was something else. The way he rose to power, his extraordinary charisma, and the way he mobilized the whole of Germany, and the way he was able to convince them to embark on such a gigantic ambition of basically conquering the whole world and then ruling the world. And then there's just one question I will ask Hitler. Hopefully he wouldn't have me for dinner there. But if I survive the dinner, one question I will ask him is, was it worth it? That's all. I'll just ask him, was it all worth it? To what purpose? Was it worth it? And then that probably sets the stage for what we are doing today. All the questions, all the people you have met, all the people and all the questions you have raised here actually set the stage for what we are talking about today. Because when you look at talking about business empire, and then if you watch the video, we talked about to what purpose, okay? Why would you want to do that? And one of the things that we found very, very, in fact, incidentally, some of the names you've mentioned are actually here, like the Rockefeller, like the, okay, nobody mentioned Kroc family or Waltons. The most powerful families in the world are actually business families. And if you look at even, you're talking about Hitler, you're talking about Donald Trump, you're talking about all these people that you've mentioned, behind them are very, very powerful businessmen. I have taken some time over the couple of years that, especially since I worked with American company, Chevron, in the early 2000s, and I took interest in America and the way that it runs, not as an insider, but as an outsider. And one of the things that's fascinated me about America is, on the surface, it looks like it's politicians that are running the country. But when you look behind the veil, it's actually the big businesses. It's actually the big businesses. And the lobbying that goes on in that place, whether it is the military industrial complex or it is the big pharma, which is why it's a very tough job for Donald Trump, because he is coming in allegedly as an outsider, but he could very well be also one of them. But he keeps talking about draining the swamp. So I'm just saying that business is the most powerful thing any family can do. In fact, I've been talking to my own family about the importance of setting up family businesses, because as you will see, it's not money. The reason you set up these businesses is the kind of business that I'm talking about. It's not for money, it's not for survival, it's not for hungry people, it's not to satisfy hunger. But the business families rule the world. Every country you go, including this Nigeria that you're talking about, though we are still evolving to get to the point where business people are totally doing that in America, in Nigeria, like they are doing in America. But I have, in the course of my work, encountered very, very strange stories and situations, where it's very, very clear. Okay, let me just give you one very accessible example. So I worked for this Newi billionaire. I consulted for his company. He has several companies at Newi. One of his companies, the blend oil, probably the second biggest producer of motor oils, engine oils, and all kinds of lubricants in Nigeria. He has businesses in more than 8 countries, Switzerland, different places. So he was a very close relationship for the duration of the work I did for him. And I got to know that these people called billionaires they are from a different planet. I'm telling you, and this is why many times the things I post on Facebook that people keep arguing about, they have no idea what I have seen, where I have been. It will shock you, for instance, that one of the billionaires I've met with has only 3 or 4 pairs of shoes. One black, one brown, one sandal, I think one other one. And he wears just one uniform everywhere you see him. Even if you go online and check his picture, just one complete uniform. It was shocking, but you see, my friend, a couple of years ago, Ayo Arowolo interviewed him, for his Money Wise magazine. And then he was telling us this, was face to face with this guy. He took him to his house, opened his wardrobe, showed him 3 pairs of shoes. But people will not believe. The people, when you tell them, will not believe. But these people think completely differently Okay, this other one that I worked for, very, very powerful individual. But the reason I mentioned him was one of the times that we were together, and he was telling me a story that if I say it if I share that story on Facebook, trolls will come from all over the place. Trolls, because they will not believe it. Because the mindset of these people is totally out of this world. And that is what I'm also going to focus. That's why I started with that, this prompt. Just like Uchenna said, was it Uchenna who talked about the mindset? I think Patricia also talked about the mindset of Nelson Mandela. Because the greatest business education is the one that allows you to develop the mindset of these people. Ladies and gentlemen, totally different from most people because of my interactions with these people. These people, I met one who keeps billionaire, he keeps his receipts. Many of us, we buy something from the store, they give them our card, and then they take it, and then we throw that receipt, we throw it into the whatever. This guy, multi-billionaire, keeps his receipts. Can you believe that? Can you believe that? But we, the poor people, we don't. So this guy told me a story how in the previous election, he sponsored a governor. Where this came from is I'm telling you that business families are powerful. They are the ones who sponsor people in power. I had no idea. The other time I consulted for Jonathan's presidency when he was president. And that was the time I also discovered that people sponsor senators. So I worked with someone in his presidency who sponsored 2 senators from his state. So this big billionaire sponsored this candidate to be governor. So now, who is more powerful? The person you're reading about in the newspaper every time, okay, he went to commission this, or the guys who are making them king? So if we really want to change the world, we have to think business. Can somebody please help type that? Because that's really where I'm going. If we really want to change the world, to transform the world, to transform, first of all, our lives, because business will transform you. It will humble you. It will shape your character. It will pummel you. It will discipline you. And at the end of it, if you follow the rules and the principles, you'll be amazed what will happen to you. And I've been in this journey myself for a long time. I have not arrived, but business is dealing with me. You know, it's really shaping me into something. And like I mentioned to you the other day, you become first, and then you start having. So business, first of all, will discipline you, shape you into the kind of person that it can trust, it can entrust itself to. And then it begins to deliver the goods to you. These people are some of the most humble people in the world. I had an appointment with one. He is Africa's #1 investment banker. He started a bank. So he gave me an appointment once in his office. He's retired, left the bank now as chairman. He gave me an appointment in the office. This guy left his, so when I entered his office, when I entered this billionaire's office, the guy stood up to greet me and to shake my hands. He motioned me to sit, and I sat before he sat. Then he did a second thing. He did 3 things. Then he called the secretary and said, I'm with Ogbo and with someone there, so I do not want any interruption and I do not want any call. I couldn't believe it, because we are not like that. If it is us, we want to play the big guy. How can a big guy stand to welcome? Are you guys getting what I'm saying? Say something in the chat. Because this whole thing is not about just rushing to start a business, but becoming the billionaire, acquiring the business mindset. Because you cannot bring your 9-to-5 mindset into the business mindset and expect to succeed. He stood up to welcome me. When we finished, this man walked me to the elevator, opened the elevator. I was not paying him anything. And it was not like I was going to give him a contract. There was nothing he was going to gain from me. It was just his nature. He pressed the elevator, it opened, he joined me, and we went down. And then he told me goodbye. I went to my car before he went up. But poor people don't do that. See the kind of pride and the arrogance or whatever that they display, on social media. But these people are very fine. They've been trained. So this is why it's important to consider starting a business empire, because it's not about the money, but it's about the fact that this is how you change the world. And tomorrow also, when I talk about big time investing, it's also for the same thing. You don't start a business primarily for money. If you do, it will torture you. It will torture you. You might make the money, but it will come at whatever. So you really want to start, of course, it must be profitable. What you're doing must be profitable, but the desire to make money should not be at the driver's seat. The desire for impact, the desire to create transformation for impact. You can imagine if what I'm doing it for money. Every day I'm showing up on Facebook Live, I'm showing up in different places, I'm creating content, I'm teaching, I'm mentoring. But you can imagine if I'm doing that for money. I won't last for 1 week. You know what it cost me? My generator, the diesel generator I'm running right now, is a diesel generator I'm running right now. So I buy diesel because there's no electricity. And now I have 3 modems. Sometimes all of 3 don't work. And then someone is asking me to go Tesla, to go, what's his name? Okay, this is Elon Musk's Starlink. Starlink should almost be 200K a month or something like that. So you can imagine if I have to wait, if I'm doing what I'm doing on Facebook for money. And then for people who think, oh, monetization is videos. One day I will show you, you can have 300,000 views on your video. And then if you're monetized, you can confirm what I'm telling you. You can have 300,000 views on your video. And what you have there will be like 30 cents or $2. 1 million people will see it. And then 1 million people, you probably have like $8. Now, if 1 million people even get to see it. So many of the videos, as you will see, 15 cents, 9 cents. It's got so many views and so many comments. And I'm telling you the truth. If you're monetized, you will know. So it's not because of the money, but there's a bigger picture, which when it happens, the money will come. And in fact, the money does come from the back end. My one-on-one coaching is $250 a session. One of the real estate CEOs in Lekki Access reached out to me. His confidential secretary reached out to me just before I came here. He wants to sign up for 8 sessions. So it's not because of money. Things are coming from the back end. Okay, and I have 2 board retreats, which is what I really facilitate, what I do at the back end. So people often don't even know what I do, what gives me money. So some bit of love and some bit of desire for transformation must precede the business. So recently I'm thinking about food. Our food is being poisoned. Our food, like in Nigeria, if you ask me, I would say like 90% poisoned. Like literally everything people eat, because of the greed and the love for money. So I'm starting something where part of the reason I bought the Ford F-250 diesel truck that I bought in my trip to the US 2 years ago was because I want to be able to go to those interior places, those interior villages, and then get the way I eat and the way we eat in our family, I want to make it available for other people. So I'm thinking in terms of how people are going to transform their health and things like that. Of course, people will pay. It's lucrative. So every day people are making demands for honey, for whatever. So I enjoy it. Then there's a potential impact, bringing down cancer and disease in this country. And all those things are coming from nowhere else than the poisoning of our food and water. This thing about food and water and our human health is so heavy and critical that one of the things that God promised the children of Israel specifically was, he said, I will bless your bread and your water. Because if those two are clean and unpolluted, you won't fall sick. But every day, sickness all over the place. And then the things that were happening also in my body, blood pressure issues and, joint pains, backache, and all those things. I mean, they should not be. But when I did the research, I found out that it's directly related to what we. So now I am creating a business that is focused on impact. And now, because that spiritual mission is very, very strong, it will drive the business through difficult times and even when it is not making money. Is this making sense to anyone? Okay. Yes. Yes. If we really want to transform the world, yes, we must think business. Yeah, very, very true. We really want to change the world significantly. We have to stop all these Tinubu versus Obi and all that. It's nonsense. I'm telling you. He will still do his 4 or 8 years. Nigeria will still be the way it is, because since I was born, 1965, and especially after 1970, after the war, I have been hearing Nigeria will be great, Nigeria will be. Now I'm 58 to be 59 in a few days. And I'm still hearing Nigeria shall be great, great again. When was it great before? So the point I'm making is, if politicians were to change this continent or change Nigeria, they would have done it. But point to me one politician that would do it. Everybody, Buhari, when he came, his own, everybody, all right, this is finally the Messiah. And then during his time, Nigeria had never experienced the kind of looting and corruption that it has in its history, since its corrupt history in 1914. So the politicians are not coming to save you. And then for those of you abroad who want to do something here, stop waiting for good government. If it comes, fine. But this is what we've got. So an entrepreneurship allows you to work with what you have and to create, a transformation based on what you have. All right. So what we're going to do this evening, we'll focus, as we said, on launching your business. And I'm possibly aware that a number of us are not in business yet. So, but if you're in business, great. And if you are not, I think we can focus our conversation on starting a side hustle, because the other uncomfortable truth is I have been studying wealth for years now. And when you look at all those top 400, top 1,000 wealthiest people in the world, please face it, I've never seen an employee there. I've never seen an employee right there. That should tell you something. Nothing wrong with the 9 to 5, but I think also that if we dare and we're courageous enough, nothing stops us from also starting a side hustle that can improve your financial well-being and that also can eventually replace your 9 to 5 income, so that you can have the freedom to face your purpose on earth. And then the final comment I will make before we start looking at your worksheets and then coaching you one-on-one is that when you're starting a business or when you're running it, one of your end goals should be to build your business, to develop it in such a way that it can run without you. This is critical, because if you quit your job and then start a business, but you still have to be there before the business can run, then you just gave yourself a glorified 9 to 5. So it's important to think more in terms of systems and processes, even if you're starting a side hustle. So you want to, from the beginning, think in terms of how you can set up systems and processes such that this thing can run without you. So I often ask business owners, my clients, so we call it a pre-mortem diagnosis. So I ask them, if something happens and you have to be unavoidably absent, from your business for 3, 6, 9 months, 1 year, when you come back, maybe there was a health challenge and then you had to fly to Germany or to Dubai or to India or to France, and then you stay there for 6 months, 9 months. When you come back, will that business still be there? And so in starting even a side hustle, we want to start thinking in terms of that. And then the good thing is that we have technology makes it so easy these days to automate things. So I'm able to earn passively, from my online stores, which I'm also developing. So lead generation is happening automatically. Messaging, marketing is happening automatically. And then conversion, payment, all those transactions are happening automatically when I'm sleeping and when I'm awake. So that is the way to process starting a business or running your business if you already have a business. All right. Okay. So questions, time for questions and time for consulting. What's your question? What question do you have about this whole idea about starting a business and running your business successfully? Let's process that. And then where would you like me to help you specifically as a person? The floor is open.
I think for me, it's starting a business. Where for me, it's being able to start.
Okay,
is the thing. Online. I have a YouTube channel, but as you said, it's not. I just started. It's not. I wanted to maybe start selling online, social media, just maybe selling products or something. But the technical know-how to build a store, maybe to start build a store, kind of get. So I need to train myself on that.
Okay. All right. So let's start from there. Let me share something, and then we can go through that. Okay, and this is what I would like everyone to do. Okay, this is what I would like every one of us to do. So this is okay. First of all, let me actually start with let me actually start here. And I can send this to you guys. I used it to coach another group. Because there are two ways you can start a business. You can generate a business idea. You can go from what you have, like your skills. That's one way. You can go from, all right, you already have a training, and then for all these years, you've mastered a particular skill. All these years, you've also had incredible experiences. You've had relationships and all that. So that is one way to start a business, from something that you have competency and expertise, something that you already have, like operational system, operational know-how. So you start from there and find a customer. I wouldn't actually recommend that. I wouldn't recommend that, but some big businesses get away with it, like big businesses that want to pivot. So they already have infrastructure, they already have skills, they already developed competencies in specific areas. So maybe they were in construction, maybe they were in road construction or bridge construction. So they already have machinery, they already have certain equipment and all that. Now they can say, we've been working for the construction industry, but right now we want to go to serve the oil industry. So they already have the equipment. They just retool all those equipment for drilling, for grading the road and all that. They use them for working for the oil companies. Is that making sense?
Yeah.
The other way that you can start a business is to start from the customer. To start from the customer's point of view. So you may not have the skills yet, but you discover that there's a demand. There's a very strong demand, a hungry market, a hungry audience, and you start from there. I prefer that because it's better that you have a level 10 market that's like a really, really hungry market, level 10 opportunity, and then you have a level 2 skill, than that you have a level 2 opportunity, and then a level 10 skill. So that's how you have to process that. So your central driver should be the market, should be the customer. That is a secret for succeeding in any business. Yeah, but if I'm a big business, I already have, offices, branches in the UK, America, Germany, and I have all this equipment and I have factories. I can just say, right, we already have factory. Our factory is producing, factories are producing, let's say, plastics. So, but we can just, get some mechanical engineers, retool the factories to now start producing fabric. But that is not where you want to start. So your own is, the very first thing is to discover the market, to discover the customer. So given that, there are 3 primary industries that any of you can play in. Okay, so you have the health, and this is where you have, so you call them 3 primary markets. Every market, every business in the world falls under each of these 3. There are no more than 3. Okay, so there is the health, enhancing physical, mental, emotional well-being, helping individuals to live healthier. And there are tens of thousands of subdomains of health and beauty. So skincare, dental, medical supplies, all those things, vaccine, research, microbiology, all those things fall under health. Hospitals, pharmacy businesses and all that. Then you have the wealth market. This is where you have, like the sort of thing that we're doing right now. There's the education. That thing is growing, managing and protecting financial resources, empowering people to achieve financial security. That's where you have banking, insurance. That's where you have, the sort of thing that we're doing right here. Then there's a relationship market, which is huge, In fact, you look at 10 posts on Facebook, 8 or 9 are almost directly relationship based. People are constantly asking questions, about marriage, about parenting, about networking, about friendships, improving personal and professional connections. So you want to start thinking. So there are 2 things we've talked about now. How you start. You either start from what you already have, or you start from the point of view of the customer, of the market. And then we are saying that there are 3 primary customers, 3 categories. There's the health, there's the wealth, and then there's a relationship. All right. So tell me, which of these primary markets do you most have interest in? Are you passionate about? Let's start from there. That's coaching mode now. So which of these, if you're starting right now, which of these are you passionate about? Let's start from there. Health, wealth.
I think it will be. I think it will be maybe health.
Okay. All right. So now let's go to health. So this is where you have sub-markets like fitness and wellness. You have nutrition and diet. You have mental health. You have health and beauty, skincare and all that. Then you have alternative medicine, herbal remedies and all that. Okay. So which of these sub-markets would you narrow it down to?
Maybe mental health counseling.
Okay. Very good. So now let's go to this exercise. All right. Keeping mental health. Yeah. So now what I want you to do for me is I help X get Y without Z. All right. So basically what this is saying is I need you to tell me the mental health like customer or group or niche that you help, and then what you help them to do without something. So for instance, okay, in my example down there, you can see I help small business owners increase their sales without spending a fortune on marketing. Okay, so that is 1. So I help X get Y without Z. And I would like everyone else on the call to also do this. Well, do this along with us, because after this we can. So the step 1 is to identify your target audience. That is the X, right? So small business owners, busy professional students, or in your own case, you're focusing on mental health. So you might say maybe mothers who have post-delivery, what do they call it? Postpartum something, because they do have, or first-time mothers, because becoming a mother, mental health, when you say mental health in Nigeria, people think about the people roving the streets mad. But mental health involves all of us. The CEO needs mental health. The newly married person needs mental health. The people having challenges in their relationship have mental health. So I need you to tell me specifically who you are going to be doing this thing for, okay? So I will explain all of them and then you will tell me. Second one is the why is the desired outcome. As a result of your help, what do these people become? All right. So what exactly do they want as a result of what you do for them? So at the end of it, is it that they become more, it has to be something important to them. Is that they become more, more in tune with themselves, more peaceful, whatever it is, there's got to be an outcome. People who are having mental health challenges, could it be the CEOs will become, they will start getting more clarity around their strategy. And, they will eliminate anxiety in their lives, total anxiety in their lives, or the newly married, you totally remove the anxiety of transition, whatever it is, okay? And then step 3 is the obstacle, because the obstacle addresses the main pain point. So what is the main pain point? The thing that that stops them. What is that thing that's like a block that stops them from getting that outcome that they want? All right. So everyone, I need you to do this exercise. Even if you already have a business, let this give you some clarity. So Uche, in your own case, so I need you to give me a statement. I help.
I think so. I'm so sorry. Let me just settle. I do apologize. Please give me 1 minute. I'll be back.
Okay. All right. No, it doesn't have to be something just perfect, right now. So all right, while we're waiting for her to come back to us, who wants to do this very exercise right now? Because this is the very, very starting point of your business or side hustle. You've got to be able to define this, okay?
As you were going through the
okay,
apologies. Sorry. As you were going through it, I think I changed my mind about mental health.
Very good.
Because it doesn't really go with my reason. I told you that I would like to actually have a business in Nigeria.
Very good.
And what maybe so it doesn't go with my why.
Which is fine.
So I'm looking at yeah, okay. So I know that one of the things there was, did you say food? I think that was part of health, isn't it?
Yes.
So how do you import, like, there are lots of people that sell Nigerian food here.
Tell me what is the major pain point there?
The major pain point is being able to...
Sorry, who do you want to help? Is it the people selling the food, the Nigerian food, or the people importing it?
So the people
eating it, buying it.
So the people importing it.
The people importing it. So I help.
Actually, I would like to be one of the people importing.
Okay. So, and then,
yeah,
meaning that you are going to be helping the sellers, right?
Yes.
You are going to be helping the buyers.
So the buyers here, the people here that have shops that sell the Nigerian food stuff. Yeah.
Okay, you are not going to be selling directly to the. Okay.
To the consumers. No, I don't want to sell directly to the.
So would we say African food store owners in the UK? That's who you help, okay?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
What are the current pain points? What's the problems that these food store owners are having right now? Like top of your mind, 3 top problems that these people are having.
I've not researched it properly, but I think maybe
think along with me, don't worry.
Okay, a price,
Mm-hmm.
maybe being able to yeah, because
What else?
well, I'm speaking from a consumer perspective, price, we don't have a lot of shops where I live. I think maybe we have 2 or 3 African shops.
Okay, so that is limited distribution. Mm-hmm. What else? Just think, don't worry.
I think, how do we package so that it's not even just Nigerians buying these foods? I don't know.
Okay. So that is also then also
so that it can be sold in Tesco, it can be sold in all those their shops, not just.
You mean to non-Nigerians?
How do we? Sorry, sir.
You mean to non-Nigerians as well?
Yes. How can it be packaged so that it's attractive to non-Nigerians? So that because we eat Indian food, we go to this thing, we buy all these Indian pastes for our food. So how can we package it so that we can sell it to all those big retail shops as well?
Okay, very good. All right. Now, what would you say that you would bring to these African store owners in the UK that they don't currently have, that other importers are not doing for them?
Hmm. I think one thing I've noticed is freshness of one of the stores I go to. Like some of our dry foods are not fresh.
Okay.
It's not like if you go and look at the obono there looks a bit funny than if, let's say, my mom sends obono to me, you can smell it. It's yeah. So
okay, very good. Okay, and if this, I just want you to close your eyes and imagine you are in the room with 100 of these people. They are running to you. Just close your eyes and imagine they are running. They are all running to you. They are all waiting knocking at the door of your residence where you stay right now. And then they are rushing to you for something, banging on your door because they heard that you are the only person that will give them that thing. What do you hear them shouting? They're all shouting, because you are the only one who has it. What is that thing that you have that they're shouting in their own words?
quality. And
how would they say it? How would they just think about it? They wouldn't just say give us quality, because everybody also talks about quality. In their own, what are you hearing them banging on your door and saying, please give us something, this. Give us this. We know it is in your house. We know you have it right there. Give it to us. What would it be?
Excellent customer service. I don't know whether that answers your question.
Well, we can put it down. We can put it down, but it's got to be something very tangible. It's got to be something very tangible.
Price.
Okay. I think you already mentioned it here. I just wanted to
put
it in the way that they themselves. All right, so let's try to couple something together. So I help African food store owners I help African okay, let's say we've talked about freshness of food. Get fresh food. It's got to be something that no other person can promise, because this is what's going to set your business apart. I help African food store owners get fresh food supplies without, okay, or the other thing is, there are a couple of things I see here. There is distribution.
Excuse me, may I say something, please?
Yes, please. Yeah, other people are this is actually is everybody's brainstorming. That's what we should actually do for one another. Yes, so go ahead.
For the pain points, the people she wants to help are African food store owners. I don't see these as the pain points of the owners. Are they complaining of the price? I mean, if I'm the only distributor, I'm happy about it because people will come to me. So are these really the pain points of the African food store owners? Or if you look at it very well, that's from my point of view. Are they really the pain points of these African food store owners? Or the pain points of those who want the thing? So there is limited supply. You have only 3. So I'm looking for an African store and there are only 3. The price is high. And then, so I'm thinking that these pain points are not like the pain points for the African store owners. The pain points might actually be they don't get fresh foods. That's a pain point that you want to solve. That food is not fresh, and then
okay.
I don't know if
yes,
that makes sense.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. So what I'm thinking is, because that's what we're talking about, the food store owners. Because if they don't have fresh foods, then people will not come there. But if they have fresh food, so it's a problem that they have, because she mentions that when she goes to these stores, she doesn't see the fresh or or the way it is. Obviously, the problem will be that it's been in transit, probably longer than the one that your mom spent. And then, but the other thing I'm even looking at is, because thank you for that contribution. The other thing I'm also looking at is the fact that she said they're only 2, meaning that if you can, meaning that there's limited foot traffic or something, limited distribution. So I'm thinking also about I help African food store owners streamline supply chain processes without facing delays or high costs. This is one possibility, because they are not getting their supplies fresh, because their processes, they have challenging processes. Because what you're doing right now is you are improving their processes. When you improve their processes, they make more money. Then you yourself will become the go-to person of choice. And they also gain time and probably gain more customers. So from what you've said, there are also other possibilities, like I help African food store owners increase food traffic or increase distribution or increase their market reach without spending more money than they already do. Okay, so this is an exercise, but are you beginning to see how you start a business? This is the thought process, because a lot of people, especially in our part of the world here, once someone starts doing something, once somebody starts supplying fish, everybody starts supplying fish. But this is actually how you distribute yourself from the beginning. You know exactly who you are serving. You know exactly what you are helping them, the value proposition you are giving them. And then based on this, you can now plan your business model. Because if what you're focusing on is supply chain, the way that they receive their supply, and then the way they also sell it, because that's what the supply chain is, or value chain, the way that they receive it from home, and then the way they also sell it to their people. And then you're saying you do this, and their greatest pain point, which you mentioned price, all right? And then also delays, because it's delays that make the food not to be fresh. So you see that your whole entire business this is your entire business model. From here, you can start setting what am I going to need to make these things happen? What am I going to have to put in place to streamline supply chain? What am I going to put in place to, remove delays and then keep costs down? That is your business. So you see your business in one sentence. This is the process. This is a thought process to start even a side hustle or something. Always start with first of all, the primary market, the sub-market, then the people you specifically want to focus on. Don't start with too many people. If you're doing African food store, you start with them, leave Costco and all those people for now. That's a separate line of business. Later, when you now grow, you can now think about expanding. But by that time, you have used this level to master this. Because by the time you go to Costco, I'm telling you, the thing will kill you if you haven't done it. Because those people, they don't play with something like being able to talk. You can't tell them stories.
Yes.
Some of you already heard that why McDonald's didn't come to Nigeria was because they couldn't guarantee supply of chicken for 5 years. They did their whatever. They found that they can't find.
Imagine.
Yes. That's why they did that. Yeah, McDonald's should have been in KFC.
Chicken.
Yes. KFC. I'm telling you, there are businesses. KFC was also having the same problem. KFC came to Nigeria. They can't find chicken. They cannot find chicken. McDonald's did their study. They said they can't. You had to assure them of 5 years supply before they can even come here. They couldn't find it in Nigeria. They said no way. So that's what I'm saying. You start with this, and then you grow, you master it, and then you can scale it. All right. Is this helpful?
Very helpful. Thank you, sir.
All right. Okay. Who else? Yes, Coach Cyprian, thank you. Yes, affordability is also a very important value proposition. All right. Who else wants to talk about your own exercise and then want me to help you think through it? Which stage are you in your business? Actually, I shared, I don't know how many of us watched the video. I hope you found time to. I shared the various stages of business. Like Uchenna right now is in the idea pre-launch stage. So what we've just done right now is conceptualization. You're still going to do some market research and planning. That's the stage you are in. All right. So who else wants to come in? What stage are you in? And how would you like me to support you, to coach you through that?
Okay, sir. Can you hear me?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. So I have two businesses. One is in the conceptual stage and the other one is actually in the early stage. Okay. So for the one in the conceptual stage, I do a lot of digital marketing, digital stuff. And in my state, Delta, and in my city, Warri, I noticed that there's a lot of the online space, there's a lot of I don't know the word to use. There's not much information and there's no much resources. So one thing I noticed in helping business owners there, I saw that if you go to places like Lagos, it's easy for you to find studios where you can shoot content and create content to promote your business. Okay. So I thought of creating a content house, like renting an apartment.
Okay,
and equipping it with.
All right, let's start this way. Let's start the same. So who do you want to create for? Who are you serving?
Business owners in Warri.
Business owners in Warri. In their own words, what are their core pain points? What's the problem that they have that you're trying to solve? What's their pain? What's keeping them?
They don't have. In terms of reaching out, marketing to more people, they don't have the know-how. They don't have the resources, like creating marketing videos. And
okay, we have to make it very, very. We have to make it very like touchable, something very tangible. So they lack what know-how, marketing know-how, right? How do you know? How do you measure that? How does this? And then you also talked about, wait a minute, before we start, you talked about lack of marketing know-how. You also talked about something like a place to shoot videos. Is that what you said?
Yes, to create video content.
A place to
marketing content.
to create their
Create.
marketing content. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so first of all, there's a lack of the know-how, and then secondly, they lack the facility, right? The facility. What else would you call it? Not a hub. You can also call it a lab. You can also call it what else? Give me ideas. Production.
So people call it content house or content facility.
What do they call it themselves? These people you are trying to help, what do they know it as?
I don't really think they have a word for it, but they see other people online do it and they say they want to do similar things.
Okay. Content production, call it house or something, or hub. Okay. Content production.
Or studio.
Studio sounds even better. Thank you. It's good to have a prof in the house. Okay. What would you consider their aspirations? Cyprian, what are their aspirations? If these people are coming to you on their knees begging for help, what is it that they are asking you? What are they telling you? What do you hear them saying? Help us do what? They say, please, Cyprian, they are on their knees. They are business owners. Is it business owners or content creators? Who exactly?
Business owners, because
business owners.
Everybody needs to.
All right. So they are on their knees before you and they are begging you. Just tell me, what do you hear in their words?
I hear them say they reach out to more or get more sales and reach out to more people.
Well, so why would they want to reach out to more people? So that they will do what?
They'll get more sales.
Okay, so it's more sales, all right. And then why do they want more sales? Why would they want more sales?
Yeah, they can make more profits in their business.
I can't hear you very well. So that
they can make more profits in their business and grow.
Okay, more profit. And then when they make more profit, how does that make them feel? How would that make them feel?
Feel happy or good.
They just feel happy or good that they're making more profit.
They're excited, I'm saying.
They'll be excited. How else would they feel? You're a business owner. You've made more sales. You're going back home to your family in the evening after such a great day. What's the feeling? What do you hear them telling their wife, their children, their neighbors? Is it just, I'm excited, I'm excited?
I think the feeling of hope, security, and a better future, something like that.
Very good. Exactly. Very good. Okay. All right. So everyone can also support. All right. We're just thinking, of course, you can always take this back and then refine it. I help business owners in Warri, and of course, you can always expand it later. As you find success in that place, nothing stops you expanding it to Ogbo, to Benin, to Lagos, to Kano, and eventually to Ghana and different parts of the world. But you actually want to master this market, refine it, make it very profitable, and then you can. So I help business owners in Warri. Secure their financial future, or you can actually say at this stage, and instead of make more sales, because it's quite vague, often you really want to use a metric. I help business owners in Warri triple their sales in 6 months without you can use without, you can also use even if they are complete beginners in digital marketing. All right. Something to that, I help owners, but this thing has to be very, very measurable. That's really the key. And it has to be something that appeals to them. So I help, because you don't just want to say more sales. And you can use percentage. I help double their business, double their sales or something in 1 year of working with you. In 1 year. Okay, and then you have 2025 coming as an opportunity to actually make this happen. You see, and why it's important to make your value proposition very, very succinct and then measurable is that this is now what you're going to focus all your business on to deliver this. Everything lies on that doubling their sales in 1 year. That's where the testimonials are going to come, the word of mouth. That's where your business will just flourish on their own. Okay. So even if they're also, because you've also mentioned something about not having the know-how. So this takes care of even if they are complete beginners.
Or even if they are digital marketing dummies.
Yeah, something like that. Even if they are complete beginners in online marketing, because digital sounds too big. Okay. And then dummies, they won't understand dummies, and then dummies also sound some people are very sensitive. Yeah. Does it sound plausible? Like
yeah, it does sound plausible.
So you can see exactly. So you can see that this gives you clarity, and then every day you wake up with this, and everyone in your team, this is the sentence that you put everywhere in your office, and everybody knows that if you're doing anything else other than this, then you are not doing your business. You're not focused. Every single thing you do, every single person you hire, every single thing you spend money on is focused on helping them double their sales, because the life of your business, the future of your business depends on this very sentence. Okay. All right.
I do have another thing to say. So I do this for business owners, and I talked about them not having like a production studio, right? I was looking at adding that to my business, like making that space available where they can come and
very good
shoot the.
So who would you do that for? The same business owners?
Yes.
So I help business owners in Warri. Okay. Create their. Okay. I help business owners in Warri, for instance, reach. Can actually be global markets. Okay. Reach. Because it would be nice if people in Warri are able to reach markets in okay, let's just say reach if you like. Of course, you can always take this to polish up. We're just practicing. Reach. I speak English. I help sell their products
Or can we say help business owners in Warri have a better reach, or have a better reach, because I feel what he's trying to do is help them have more reach. I mean, reach more people than they're already doing. With that, I think the reach can be the whole Nigeria or beyond Nigeria. I don't know.
Yes,
that sounds good anyway. Sorry.
It does. It's just that we need to always make it very measurable, because saying better reach doesn't really mean anything in business. So
Okay. Oh,
say,
I understand.
yes, I help business owners in Warri. Reach, how can we quantify that? Okay, we are
Can we be as
How
specific
about
as
okay? How about we say I help business owners in Warri compete on a national scale?
fantastic. I think I actually like that. Compete nationally, very good, or internationally, without worrying about technology. Because many of them, you see, because you already said that they don't have the studio, they don't have the whatever, without worrying about technology. They don't have the know-how. So if I have this business and I put out an ad for the business owners in Warri, and I'm saying something that don't worry if you don't know how to use ring light, don't know if you don't know how to do video processing and all that. I will help you compete with other businesses nationally and internationally, and you don't have to worry about not knowing technology. So this is something you can work with, right? And polish it. But this is how you define a business idea. Cyprian, does that help?
Thank you, sir. Yeah, very, very much. It gives clarity to what I'm doing.
Fantastic. Great. All right. We can take one more person. Caroline. Who else? Obina, welcome. Obina, thank you so much for the inspiration. I had to use it to share the other day. Oops, sorry. Caroline. Yeah. Have you done the worksheets today, Caroline? What are your discoveries?
Yeah, know whether I did it holistically, but I attempted it. I've done all the worksheets little by little.
Okay. Where did you find difficult? Where did you find helpful? Where do you need more clarity?
SWOT analysis.
Okay. Okay. Very good. Very good. And actually, everyone, whether no matter the stage of your business, in fact, every stage here should use SWOT analysis. I work with businesses, small ones and big ones like Flutterwave and big ones like MTN, and everybody. That's SWOT analysis is a very, very, very useful business tool, for strategy. And because your SWOT actually evolves, it is not something you do only once. And it's not something you do only once and then stop. All right. So let's see. What business are you doing, or are you thinking about starting?
Well, I'm in the business of law. I'm a lawyer. I do
okay.
I focus more on real estate practice.
Oh, fantastic.
Real estate transaction.
Okay. All right. Fantastic. Okay. Real estate. So what aspect of the real estate business are you into as a lawyer?
That is documentation.
Okay.
Documentation, drafting, that's every aspect of documentation, from the drafting to the perfection with government agencies.
Fantastic. And what do you call your company?
Beulah Barrister and Solicitor.
Beulah. Okay.
Trying to look for.
Is it barrister, you said?
Beulah Barrister and Solicitor.
Okay, Solicitor. Very good. Very, very nice name. Yeah.
Thank you very much, sir.
Yeah. Okay. So now let's still go back to so who are the people you serve specifically? Is it landlords? Is it first-time owners? Is it government people? Is it who? Who exactly is your primary customer?
First-time owners, investors, real estate investors.
So that's very broad. I would like you to give me like specifically, if it is just like one person, one schema, one persona standing in front of you, how would you describe like the ideal person who comes to you for help? Just describe the ideal person who is the most profitable, who comes to you for help. So something like Nigerian
First-time
who live
without
abroad.
knowledge. Well, it's home and abroad.
No, I'm just giving you an example. So you say first time what?
First-time homeowners or first-time buyers, as in those that are buying for the first time.
Okay, first-time buyers. Tell me about these first-time buyers. Describe them.
Okay, there are people who are interested in investing in real estate in Nigeria, but are highly skeptical, maybe because of one thing or the other. So what I do is I educate them and then tell them that they can.
No, don't worry about what to do. I'm just asking, who are these people? I want to know, I want to understand them, and I need it to be very, very clear in your mind. So they are investors. What else? What else do you know about them? They're investors. What else?
Like
are
people who can.
Are they men or women or both?
Both of them, men and women.
Where do you typically find these people? Where do they congregate, if you like? Where is like one place you go, you can pick them up? Whether online or offline. Where are these people? City, geography?
Yeah, they are city dwellers. They are city people.
Okay.
City, educated, middle-aged men and women.
When you say middle age, what's the age? Because middle can be anything for them.
40 to 60.
40 to 60. What is one distinctive characteristic about them? Like, this is something that if you see 1,000 people, show the market, and you can locate this people, what is it that you can see? You can say that those two people working together, they are the people I'm looking for. What is it that you see?
Yeah, educated individuals.
You don't see education on people.
I don't know. They're enlightened. They're enlightened people. As in, you see some form of polish. I don't know how to say.
All righty. So, do you know from these questions as a coach, I can guess how much money you make every year. I can tell that.
Really?
Yes. From the way you are answering, I can tell the kind of problems because every problem in business stems from not knowing exactly who the customer is and the problem with that is that you start serving everybody. You start trying to serve everybody. You don't know exactly how to market to these people if you don't know them. Because you need to know them, you need to know the language they use, you need to be able to spot them in a crowd. Because if you have 1,000 people, and then out of the 1,000 people, only 3 can buy from you. Can you imagine if you have to go to all 1,000 to identify 3? Instead of saying, all right, that guy I'm seeing there, from the way he is dressed, from his mannerisms, from the language he uses, from the place I'm seeing him, maybe these guys who buy from me, you usually typically find them in airport business class lounge. Maybe these people who buy from me, they typically live in Ikoyi, in Maryland, in Surulere, or in Abuja. Maybe these people who buy from me, they are typically relations of politicians. So with all these things, it becomes very easy for me to know exactly where to find them. Maybe these people who buy from me typically travel once every month. Maybe these people who buy from me, they have a business somewhere in the UK. They typically have a business abroad, or maybe their family lives in Canada. That is what the research is. The money is in this research. If you don't know them, then you are just a generalist. That is why I receive all kinds of messages from all these real estate people every day on LinkedIn, and yet I'm not their customer. because they don't know who their customer is. And that's why people, contact the other person just last week, connected with me on LinkedIn. The very first thing, she just said, nice to connect with you, Mr. Ogbo. And I said, okay, nice to connecting with you. The very next thing is, do you have a child that is going to university that needs this something, needs whatever? And I said, we just connected. You don't even know who I am. You don't even know whether I have a child. We don't even know whether you know nothing, and you're already selling. I hope everybody is listening, because it's not just for Caroline. It is the biggest problem that I see as a business coach. Small business owners do not know who their customers are. You can't wake them up and then they tell you this is the avatar, this is the customer persona. And because they don't know, they do not know how, because you can't target them if you can't tell who they are. So this is something you really need to, and then remind me in the Telegram group. Let me share something with you. Please, somebody has to remind me, take a note. Let me share a template that you can use to discover your customer avatar, to describe them to the T. That's what business is about. For me, there are people I will not bother selling to because they are not my customers. And so even on Facebook every day, like today, I get a dozen people saying, please mentor me. And I look at them. They are not my people. So what I just do is I say, look, I have a lot of free materials. Somebody, in fact, I can show you some of them. Somebody said, oh, I'm a fresh graduate. I've been following and reading the things it's been transforming my mind. Please, I want you to be my mentor. I get it every day, dozens of them every day. And then this guy is fresh graduate. He's not my market. So what I do for those people, if you remind me, I can teach you something called value ladder. So there's something for everybody. So my value ladder starts from free, like all the things I'm doing on Facebook and on YouTube, free. Then the next level is what you people are involved in now, the financial fitness challenge. That's the next level of access to me. There's a level after this, like a group of people who want to, for instance, make their annual salary in 1 month. There's a program for that. Then after that, there is one-on-one, like the CEO who I spoke with today, one-on-one with me, which is $250 a session, minimum of 8 sessions. There are not so many people like that in Nigeria. Can you imagine if I go to Facebook and start telling people, come on one-on-one for me, and I publish $250? You see the way they abuse me. And then people can't fathom that. Meanwhile, I myself, I'm paying someone $500 a session to help me communicate my value. And then I belong to another mastermind. I joined 2 weeks ago. It's $95 every single month. So not everybody is your customer. The first thing you must do in order to run a headache-free business is to define exactly who your customer is. If you miss it, you miss everything else. All right. So that's an assignment for you, Caroline, and I would like to see how much you think through that. And then if you remind me, I can send you the avatar template, where you can use to think through, pinpoint these people in such a way that you know them. Once you hear them, they talk on phone, you say, this guy will buy. So you know your market, you know your people so well that you know who exactly to convert. So what do you do for them? How would you describe the services? What do you do for them? First of all, what is their pain point? What's their major
pain point? Is scam. Real estate scam. Avoid.
Very good. Very good. So they want to fear of falling victim to real estate scams. Fantastic. What else? What else?
They want to get it right in terms of maybe documentation.
Okay, so documentation rigor. Okay, most people don't like all those dotted lines and then the rigor, and then sometimes you don't know what you're signing. Okay, what else? What else is their pain point? Think. And is there any first-time real estate buyer in the audience? You can also say, what is your pain point? All right, we don't have that much time. So let's just work with this for now. So I help first-time buyers. Buyers of what? Is it landed property or undeveloped land or something? Buyers of what?
Landed properties, bare land, built up.
Okay, first-time buyers of landed property. Okay. So what do you help them do? Like when they finish, like when they give you feedback, like think about somebody you did that for and they gave you feedback. What did they say in that feedback? They gave you like they were very happy. What did you help them do?
Monitor the transaction. Monitor the transaction to a conclusion or to they got their documents.
Okay.
Like you help ensure safe transaction.
Okay, I help first-time buyers of landed property secure documentation without fear of falling victim to scams. I help first-time buyers of landed property secure documentation. Okay, is it legal documentation, official documentation, government? What would be the adverb?
Legal documentation.
Okay, without fear of falling to scams. Without fear of scams. Something like that. I mean, if I come to your website and I see something like this and I'm a first-time buyer, do you think I'll be very interested in working with you? Yes, that's the question. And so this becomes where you have to focus your business and your marketing, removing the pain, the fear, and also securing legal documentation. I have that big problem because I bought somewhere. Maybe I can actually talk with you offline. I bought, my wife and I bought 23 plots of land somewhere that we intended to use for some trees. And then the villagers went and partitioned it and then sold for no reason. And the funny thing was, they asked me to pay them, they started doing this on Manila thing, asked me to pay them youth development something of 2 million. I gave them the 2 million in December. By March, they had partitioned and sold the 23 plots. So this is a huge pain point. If that if I come and I can trust someone to do this, secure all that documentation, such that even now that they have done because incidentally we didn't have the CFO or something of the place. It was in a village where we thought that people would not do that kind of a thing because villagers are supposed to be honest and trusted and all that. But it even seems it's worse in the villages right now than town. So you are in a very good business. Okay, any final comments from anybody, either to Caroline or generally? But Caroline, was this exercise helpful?
Well, sir, especially the part of the avatar issue. And I'm going to give you a reminder, sir.
Please do. You really need to know them. Sorry, it looks like there's interference when I talk and then when you talk. All right. So you really need to, once you do that for your business, your business would, you see your business take off. It's harder trying to serve everybody than identifying some specific niches of people that you can serve. And then later you can add others as you scale your business. Good job. Well done. All right. Okay. Any final comments?
I just wanted to come.
Go ahead.
Sorry, I just wanted to comment on Caroline's business stick. It would be good to target people living in the diaspora as well, because when people want to buy land, they want to look for somebody that is reliable and able to help them. So I don't know how you're going to do it. Maybe if you go on social media. The first land I bought, it was on social media. I found the guy, and that's how I got connected with him, and thank God he was trustworthy and was able to help too. So, and it was just on social media that they were advertising it. So maybe if you go on social media as well.
Exactly. Exactly. Thank you for that. That's exactly what I was, because you wouldn't imagine how many times people reach out to me from Germany, somebody from UAE, and every time they even want me to do things like this for them. And I'm like, this is not what I do. It's not my competence. People complain that they can't find someone to trust to do business in Nigeria. Someone in US who had worked with NASA, or the same problem. He contacted me, that one on LinkedIn. And people are asking, what business can we do? Who can we trust? Because literally everyone I know who lives abroad has had their finger burnt, either by family or friends they sent money to. And Uchenna, you can confirm that. It's a nightmare for people living abroad, Nigerians living abroad. And I hear the same thing in Ghana. Finding someone to, so
trust.
One particular case in Abia State, this guy was sending his own brother money to build a place. And then he came out on social media to build a house. And then this guy was sending lots of money that ran into tens of millions of naira, if not hundreds of millions of naira. And then this guy would go take pictures. And I hear it's common. Take pictures of someone else's building. So the man was very happy, kept on sending money until he now came back. And then they showed him a plot of land where there was literally nothing. It was someone else's house. So often what you help people do is actually, if you find a market like that and then you face that market, then your marketing and everything will be focused in the diaspora. That's why it's important to know exactly who your market is, a profitable market, and to focus there, serve them. Everybody cannot be your customer. So identify those who are profitable, who are willing to pay, and whom you can serve very, very easily.
Thank you very much, ma. Thank you, sir. You know, the challenge we have as legal practitioners is that our our code of conduct does not allow advertisements. It's kind of trifling, yes. So the person you probably transacted with is a realtor, as they don't have any professional body that is watching them and all of that. If not, you would have seen lawyers and doctors advertising, but the code of conduct does not agree. So it's only, and that's a major issue for us. For me now, after these lessons for today, when I began to think of, okay, how do I scale? Because I think I'm at number 3 or so. So that I was like, okay, so maybe I need to it's because I won't call it diversify. I want to go into ancillary businesses, like doing approvals, but on a different company name. Like I have another company that is strictly real estate. It's not a lawyer. It doesn't have any law connotation or anything. It's just for property transaction. So I'm like, okay, how do I probably concentrate more on using that business name? Because anytime they see a lawyer, before you know, disciplinary committee and all of that comes up and all of that. So I'm thinking, perhaps I need to shift.
Okay, let me stop you. Let me stop you there. Let me stop you there. That's not a problem at all. I have worked with quite a number of lawyers, pharmacies, like dozens of them, and then doctors, medical hospitals. And then every time I go, I hear the same excuse. This is a very, like a 200-year-old excuse. Those things, there are ways to do that, and people are doing it every day. So you are living in a very old excuse that is limiting you. Oh, they don't allow us to advertise, and nobody's saying you should advertise. But the workaround is what we call education-based marketing. And people are doing it. Lawyers are doing it. Some lawyers are doing it and extremely well. Doctors are doing it. This one, some of you probably know the one called Aproko Doctor. What do you think he's doing? That's marketing. That's marketing. And then because he puts himself out there, he's educated. It's called education-based marketing. There's no code of conduct, anything against educating your people anywhere. So you start a channel and you're educating people. You take all these problems that people are having and you're talking about it. You are not, at the end of it, you're not saying, come to my legal something like that, and we do it. You're educating people. Everybody loves it. And that is a problem because many people don't know what you do. And they don't know how you can help them because you're not educating them, because you're saying, oh, code of conduct is keeping us from So I've worked with several hospitals and pharmacies, and there's so many things that hospitals can do. In fact, I learned that, in the early 2000s, I don't know about Mayo Clinic in the US. I don't know how strong they are right now. But in those days, whenever I got into a store, whether it's 7-Eleven or CVS, pharmacy, or anywhere, you will always see all these publications. Mayo Clinic. They had these beautiful publications they will talk about hypertension, they will talk about diabetes, they were educating people, and they have Mayo Clinic. That was how I got to hear about Mayo Clinic for the first time. And they're not telling you to come to their clinic. They're just educating you about hypertension, educating you about your nutrition and things like that. And then at the end of it, if you fall sick, where are you likely to go? Of course, they educated you. So if I can't find a lawyer because all of you are hiding because code of conduct says, but you're not there educating people. But a pro-code doctor, he is not the best. He's definitely not the best doctor. Some people don't even think he practices. But you see, most people go to him because he's become an authority because he's doing content. So everybody in such industry should start a content channel for educating every day. You are not telling people, come to my chamber, I'm going to represent you another, but you're educating people. And that is a very fantastic thing to do. There's this doctor too in, I forget the name of his clinic, but he's a neurosurgeon, fantastic. That, he does he's based both in America and here in Nigeria. So he comes to Lagos to do such. He is in high demand. I forget his name, but he has an Instagram channel. So sometimes you actually see video of people he had helped and things like that. And then they were just doing that. He's not telling anybody to come. But today, everybody, including, I think, Davido or so, had gone for something in that place, recently. So we say every big person. Because many times when they go to the UK or to the US, is this same guy that attends to all these big Nigerian politicians. So he comes here and they all go there. Okay. So that's what I think people in such industries should do. Okay, our time is fast spent. All right, I think
sir, please, there's something you mentioned, and sorry, grant me the opportunity to get it again. You mentioned 3 categories: people who are profitable, and 2 other things you mentioned. I was just trying to write it down, and
okay.
Yeah, you talked about. Go on, sorry.
So you need people who are, first of all, they are able to pay. They have ability to pay. That is very important. And then secondly, they are willing to pay. So you have willingness and then ability to pay. These 2 things, if the individual doesn't have it, please run away from, forget it. If they're able to pay for your services, for your product, and they're not willing, you don't have a business. If they're willing to pay and they're not able, you also don't have a business. So these are the things that make a customer profitable. So they've got to be profitable. You've got to find a way. They've got to be reachable. Okay, so you can easily reach them. They've got to be distinctive. You can pick them in a crowd and know that these people are exactly your people. They've got to be what we call responsive. Responsive means that if you put out an ad right there, these people will respond. So they are a hot market because you have hot, you have cold, you have warm market. So those are the ways that you identify who to focus on and not waste your time at all. I do not waste my time. That's why my conversion is almost 100%, because I do not bother wasting time on someone who is not able to pay for my coaching services one-on-one, or who is not willing to pay for that because the person doesn't even understand the value. Does that help, Obinna?
Yeah, I guess so.
All right. Okay, thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Tomorrow, day 4, we are going to focus on investing. And please show up on time and do take time to look at the video lectures that I will post. I think that investment is a very important subject that we can optimize, that can in fact change everything for us. And we can make it very practical. If you want, I can share what I'm doing in the stock market and then the positions I'm taking right now, because often,
wow, that would be lovely.
This is about the time this is about the time to take position, because by February, sometimes, if you're lucky, but because everything still involves risk, because I'm going to put a disclaimer, but I'll just tell you what I'm doing. Sometimes you can pick a stock for 30 naira in November, and by February it's doing 120. So you can literally, if you have 100 million or something, you can literally make your money between November and February in the Nigerian stock market, money for the whole year. So let's make it tomorrow, and then come with all your questions and do go through the exercises. So meantime, as usual, please go to the Telegram group and then let me know what your aha moments were today. Let me know exactly the things that, please don't go to bed without doing it. A few of you didn't do so last night, but it's usually very important for me. And then give me feedback over there as well. That's very helpful. So until this time tomorrow, keep showing up, because you never know what's coming your way next. And I'll talk to you guys. You have a good night.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you, sir.
Good night, everyone.
Very much. Good night, everyone.